Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm just remembering the thing I forgot to get out. Hi! It is Thursday. It is January 16th. This is my third attempt at this live, and I'm hoping the lighting's good enough. I didn't put my extra light on. Facebook has changed its live settings, so we're going to get really real tonight because there are no filters, which, hey, I guess that's not such a bad thing. Sorry, I'm having issues with the light, but I'm going to have to be a little better prepared next time. So tonight we are going to make this amazing recipe using the Deluxe Cooking Blender. So if you followed me all week, I've been talking about it a lot, and there's two reasons for it. Number one is because if you are trying to eat healthier in 2025, if that's one of your goals for the new year, you are going to love this thing. It is going to be a game changer for you, and let me tell you why. There are so many things that you can make fresh in this, and they don't take a lot of time and energy. And the marinara sauce that we're going to make right now is one of them. It is so ridiculously easy to make. You're going to see here in just a minute. But you can also do things like alternative milk. So I was talking to somebody yesterday who she drinks oat milk and her kids drink almond milk. And this thing will pay for itself in the money she will save being able to make that herself at home, and it's done in minutes. It's not this long drawn out process. It is so simple to do. So you know what? I have an old video on how to do that I will make sure I post in my stories later this evening. So that's a good idea. Now I just need to not forget. So we're going to make this marinara sauce, and it is so simple. Oh, I didn't even finish telling you all the things. Peanut butter, fresh almond butter. You can make jellies and jams in here, and you get to decide what goes in. We have a myriad of soups that you can make in here. My favorite is the butternut squash soup, but there's some others that come in close second. When my grandkids are out, especially in the fall, we love making fresh tomato soup in here using canned tomatoes, but it's all fresh ingredients, and you could use fresh tomatoes if you want. But whole ingredients, the can tells you what's in it, and so it's just tomatoes and fresh basil and all the good things, and it makes 6 cups of soup. So that's usually enough for the 7 of us with the kids. But obviously you could make a double batch, make a second batch if you needed to. So that was getting kind of down a little rabbit trail there. It's so versatile. And then there's just the everyday things you use a blender for, like making smoothies and well, that's probably the big one, right? So, but the fact that it cooks in the blender, that is the game changer for so many of these recipes, like the one we're going to make tonight. So we are going to use just a handful of simple ingredients. We have a 1/4 cup of water. We are going to chop some carrots here, and I forgot to have my knife handy, so let's grab the favorite, my little 5-inch Santoku knife. We're going to just cut these up. So that's, it's always kind of like a 1 cup of carrots chopped. Well, how finely chopped depends on how much comes to a cup, but I mean, you just use, whatever you like. I have not peeled the carrots because there's a lot of nutrients in that skin. So I just scrubbed them real good in the sink. You get to decide what you want to do, but I am using, get some things out of the way here, just unpeeled, scrubbed carrots. One of the things I love to make in this is fresh applesauce, especially in the fall. Okay, so this is like, a little more than a cup, but works for me. Then we're going to do a small zucchini. Again, it's so random, like how small is a small zucchini? So you get to do whatever you want. Other things I would consider putting in this recipe would be like kale or spinach, because it's going to be completely hidden in the marinara sauce. You will not be able to taste it. You will not be able to see it. When I make the applesauce, I simply core the apples. I don't peel them. I scrub them real good or soak them in vinegar water. to make sure they're clean. But then everything gets cooked off anyway. So just throw them in here with a little bit of water, and half an hour later you have fresh applesauce. And like, you're not standing by having to watch it. It just does its thing while you're off doing whatever you feel like doing. So the last thing we need in here are 4 cloves of garlic. And my garlic is kind of stuck in my garlic keeper. I meant to do this ahead of time. So while I'm trying to get garlic out of my garlic keeper, because it's literally stuck in there. This is too funny. Like, if it got in there, it should be able to come out, right? I don't know if I can cut the top off live on TV. It's not neat stitches tonight. There we go. There we go. Okay. This is my husband's homegrown garlic that is so amazing. But it's bigger, and it doesn't like to stay in that. Well, it likes to stay, obviously. It doesn't like to come out. So because these are humongous cloves, it calls for 4 cloves of garlic. I'm only going to use 2 of these, and even that might be a little on the edge. But again, garlic is relative, like how much. Cloves are all different sizes, so you get to decide what you how much garlic you want, but it does call for 4 cloves. So speaking of garlic, I would be using my cute little garlic peeler, but I broke my garlic, my little garlic tool, my little green and gray garlic tool that dices and minces and slices the garlic, which is so cool. So here's what not to do in that thing. I was trying to slice something I shouldn't have been slicing, and all of a sudden I'm blanking on what it was. It'll come to me. Keep it for the garlic, friends. Don't try to slice other things in it, or you'll end up like me, having to order a new one. So, all right, so we have a little bit of water, some vegetables, some garlic. Oh, we're going to put a teaspoon of salt in. Again, if you are regulating salt, you can use 0 salt. You can use less salt. I'm actually going to use a little bit less than a teaspoon. I do highly recommend the coarse Himalayan salt because, oh, my husband's so cute. He just held up a sign to remind me what it was I was slicing in the garlic press that ruined my garlic press. It was almonds. I was slicing almonds for Brie at Christmas. That's what I broke the garlic, the little garlic tool on. So don't try slicing almonds in it. That's didn't end well. Okay, so we have everything in here. We're going to put the lid on. And this is not easy to do backwards. So I'm just going to look like an idiot here for a minute. We are going to set this. And by the way, this recipe comes with the cooking blender along with a whole lot of other recipes. We're going to set this to puree, heated puree, right here. And we're going to push start. Now this is noisy. Blenders are noisy. There's just no getting around that. And this is probably going to take 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm going to pause it for a second. This is going to take 10 or 15 minutes. Once it's done, it'll beep. It's going to bring it to a boil. It'll beep. I'm sorry, not to a boil, but it's going to heat it up really hot. It'll beep. And at that time, we just add this can of diced tomatoes. We puree it, or I'm sorry, we pulse it until the tomatoes are mixed in and it is ready to serve. How about that? So that is how fast it is. Like literally, if I wasn't going to show you some pasta, I would be able to walk away from it at this point and go do something else and come back when it beeps, put in the tomatoes, pulse it to blend them in, ready to serve. That's how quick this is. You know what? I did forget something really important. I forgot the Italian seasoning. How could I forget the Italian seasoning? Silly me. 1 tablespoon, half a capful of Italian seasoning. So we're just going to take this off. All right. So we're going to, I'm actually going to put this in the other room. I don't know if it's going to make it's going to be far enough away. Maybe if I put it over here where it usually lives and let it run. Y'all, it's just loud because blenders are loud. Come on. It's doing its thing. Okay. So we're going to let that go over there. And while it's doing its thing, some of you may have seen this when I did it live several months ago now, but I thought I'd do it again. So I apologize. The sound is going to be terrible on this particular live. I just scared the dog. But it'll be fun to watch. So you can hang on if you want to. And I'll probably actually move the camera over there when it's closer to done so you can see the next steps, okay? All right. Get this put away. Get this put away. And this goes in the dish soap. And we are going to go get the pasta dough out of the refrigerator. So the pasta dough, you do want to make it ahead of time because you want to refrigerate it for a solid 30 minutes before you do anything with it. And so if you watched the last time I did this, you know, or you may or may not remember, but it does have to chill ahead of time. I hate chilling things ahead of time. Like if a cookie dough says chill it ahead of time, I rarely actually do the chill. But with pasta dough, this is actually important. So we're going to get our space ready here. And your pasta maker that fits on the blender, the stand mixer, comes with this nifty little card, including tips for pasta perfection. So that's exactly what I'm using here. This is really cool because I actually divided the recipe in half once I made it. It says you can store uncut pasta dough for up to 18 hours in the fridge or 2 months in the freezer. So I'm literally going to put half the dough in a freezer bag, or I'm going to use a silicone bag and stick that right in the freezer. Label it, use it another time. But we're going to go ahead and get this rolled out. Okay. It's been a minute, y'all, so if I hesitate, that is why. Now, the other thing you can do that I would do, but I sometimes just don't have the mental capacity, you can go ahead and put your pasta dough through the pasta maker and then freeze it after it's formed, which we've done that too. And that's really handy because then you can just, you want pasta real quick, you just take it out and throw it in the water and it's ready to go. So there's a chance later this evening I'll change my mind and just go ahead and cut up the rest of the pasta. But it's nice to know that if you want, you can freeze the dough. So this is half of the recipe. You could cut it into however size shapes you need to freeze it, depending on what you need for your family. So we're going to cut this. I'll bring my board over. I really don't want to cut on my countertop. And we're going to flatten it out. So if you saw this before, it is so fun to do. And I'm going to say this out loud because I'm in a group of, it's a cooking club group. And this poor sweet mama posted something this morning that made my heart kind of reminisce and also a little sad. She's got 2 little ones at home. She works a part-time job. And she's trying to keep up with all the things. Keeping her house clean, feeding her kids really healthy food, and not be exhausted by the time she's ready to put them to bed. And if you are that mama, this is only to be done if it brings you joy. Okay? If making your own fresh pasta brings you joy, then that's what you need to do. Okay? But if like this stresses you out, it is okay. You don't have to make your pasta from scratch to be a good mama. There's a whole lot of other things that are way more important. I have a friend, and we belong to the same knitting club, and we had a funny exchange not too long ago on that club group about how we had this vision before we had kids, and she's quite a bit younger than me, but she had the same vision of like we were going to knit all their sweaters and make all their socks, and then we were going to like raise the sheep and spin the yarn. We're going to do all the things. Like that's not reality in this culture, in this day and age, unless you have full-time help. If you have full-time help, then you go for it. But probably the rest of us, not so much. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get this going. And so it's important that you get lots of flour on it. And I don't know if you noticed, I was kind of flattening it out. I didn't actually do a very good job of that. Let me just, I feel like that. I don't know if that's going to work very well. We're going to find out. And then we're going to set the stand mixer. I have it turned facing me so you can't see the dial, but we're just going to turn it to custom. And we're going to turn it to setting 3. I'm sorry, to speed 1, setting 3 on this. So there's a little knob that pulls out here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this through a couple times. So now that I have it on the right setting, we're going to go ahead and get this going through here. So basically we're putting the dough through 3 times to flatten it out before we actually cut it. So there's 1. So I've been reading a book that's, I follow a guy named Ryan Holiday, if you're readers and if you like philosophy. He's very thought-provoking, and he was telling the story in the chapter I was reading this morning about Fred Rogers and his routine that started long before he got to the studio. His morning routine, and then how when he got to the studio, we all know what Mr. Rogers did, right? He walked in the door, he took his shoes off, he put the sweater on, took his jacket off, hung it up, put his sweater on, sang his little song the whole time. And I thought, I need to have a Fred Rogers routine for these live demos. So I might be thinking about that. But if you have ideas of what I could do when I come on, that would kind of be the, hey, maybe it's just put my apron on after I go live. I don't know, but it was making me think. The guy was absolutely a master of habit. He, when he got up in the morning, so we're going to set this to 2 now. So we're just putting it through the 3 thicknesses to thin it out. So when he got up in the morning, he spent an hour in prayer. That alone blows my mind. And then he'd go to the YMCA in Pittsburgh and swim for another hour. And this was all before he went into the studio. So anyway, people like that really impress me. So we've got it through this one through number 2. You can see there's kind of a hole in the center there. It's not to be worried about. The thing to know about making your pasta at home is that it's probably not going to look like perfect store-bought pasta, but it's going to taste so amazing. One of the other cool things to me about homemade pasta is that it cooks in half the time. So again, if this is the kind of thing that stresses you out, please don't feel Like I'm telling you, you need to start making all your pasta from scratch. But if it's the kind of thing that makes your heart sing, like it does for me, on the right night, there are definitely nights I just want to open the box. We've had a few of those in the last week. This might be something you will really enjoy. Now, what I don't have the answer to is whether or not you can use this attachment on other stand mixers. I'm going to guess probably not. I would have to look. I think we still have a KitchenAid somewhere in the house. I would have to look and see if the bracket is the same. I know it is certainly designed to be used on this one and not other stand mixers, but I don't know that for sure. So in case you're wondering that. All right, so that we are now through the, we got it through level 1. Oh, it's getting close to done over there, you guys. So crazy. So crazy. Okay, we're going to put this one on. We are going to cut these shorter. I don't really want mile-long spaghetti. And I have to tell you what my clever, clever husband did. I don't have one handy, but if you want to dry the pasta, he took one of our cooling racks, and you know how the legs pop out on the cooling racks? So lay the cooling rack with the legs out on its side, and you can hang the pasta over the cooling rack to dry. I thought that was so brilliant, so I wanted to share that one with you. All right, well, we're going to cook this up tonight, so I don't need to dry it. So we're going to put this back on. It's going to come out right down here, so I think I'll do this one first. Woo. All right. Well, maybe this end. I just love this. You know, it was quite a while ago because if I remember right, my granddaughters helped me make pasta earlier. Well, it was in August when they were here. So I do not have such cute side help tonight, little assistance. But I do have to tell you the funniest thing they did at Christmas. So, you know, I have this little Maltese, Maisie, and she wears a sweater anytime it gets below 60 outside because she's so tiny. She only weighs about 6 pounds. And in fact, I'm constantly finding that her feet are cold. So anyway, she's got her little Christmas sweater on, little red sweater when we were down. We went down for New Year's. A couple days after we get home, I'm petting Maisie, and I realize that there's something in her sweater. And at first I thought it was her hair, that she'd rubbed it off. The girls had put stuffing in her sweater, like the kind of stuffing you put in a pillow. They had gotten these sewing kits for Christmas that made these little stuffies, and so they had used some of their extra stuffing and stuffed Maisie with their stuffing to, I don't know, their story was, I couldn't quite understand what they told their mom, but it was so funny. So, all right, so this is done. The marinara sauce is also almost ready to add that, the diced tomatoes. So I'm going to actually go ahead and bring that back over here once it stops. I'll be very curious when I download this video and upload it to YouTube if the sound is ridiculous. But I see some of you still watching, so who's on here? I saw Lois. I see Michelle. Hi, Michelle. And I see John. Barbie. Hi, Barb. I know, probably no one calls you Barbie anymore. Hi, Paulette. Hey, Justin. Wow, Justin, I have not seen you in forever. Oh, those were some good times. Justin used to come hang out and cook in my kitchen with me way back when the kids were like, you guys were like in high school, which is like 15 years ago now. How'd that happen? That's just not possible. All right, so this puree is almost done. While we're waiting, we'll go ahead and open the can of Smooth Edge can opener. This has been my most popular product since Christmas. I've had people ordering these left and right off my website. It's been so funny. I'm like, I don't know what happened over Christmas, but everybody decided they needed a Smooth Edge can opener. I had one person order one for her house and one for her camper. All right, ready to go? Our half hour is up, and this has got to be close. I just don't want to move it till it stops doing its thing. Actually, you know what? I can pause it. Let me pause it and bring it over. Hold on. Whew. Now, the downside of doing it this way is you cannot smell how amazing my kitchen smells. With all that garlic in there, it smells so good. So good. And it says it's at 185, but it is simmering in here, you guys. So, I don't know if you can see the steam coming out. And I could not find my guidebook, which means it's buried upstairs in my office. Or I would read to tell you where this will stop. It's at 187. It's got to be soon. Because I know it doesn't take it all the way to boiling. Or at least I'm pretty sure. So just to go over the different things it does, we've got the grind for making like peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, sunflower seed butter. You can do all of those in here yourself. We have the smoothie setting. We have the alternative milk setting. I actually told the friend that I saw yesterday that I would make some almond milk for her and bring it to her next week. And then I'm going to loan her this for a day or two and let her play with it, because like you really have to see it to believe it sometimes. Well, she's definitely one of those folks that needs to see it to believe it. And like I said, I will post the video from last year that I made. Anyway, so any of those milks, you will save so much money because it costs a fraction to make it yourself from what you pay for it in the store. And here's the big thing: no preservatives, no added anything, because it doesn't have to be shelf stable. It just goes in your refrigerator. And I'm pretty sure it'll tell you when, like in the recipe, it tells you, hey, Paulette, it tells you how long it'll stay in your fridge. So almond milk is about 2 weeks. Most of the time, if I'm using almond milk primarily, I use it up way before 2 weeks. So then the other settings are, we have a soup setting. So I was talking about that earlier. We have the heated puree that we're using right now. And you can use this setting for either your applesauce or the puree we're making. And if you like to make purees of all kinds, that's there. We have a jam setting and we have a sauce setting. So some of the other things you can make with this, I will say the jam setting, it's going to be puree jam. It's not going to be chunky jam, but if you like chunky jam, what you can always do is hold some of the fruit off to the side, chop it up with a food chopper, and throw it in before you actually can it. The sauce makes things like Alfredo sauce or nacho cheese sauce. I have a couple of people I know who got this just to make the nacho cheese. Well, they didn't know that's where they got it. They got it before all the other things. It was the nacho cheese sauce that sold them on. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Can you see the steam rising? So this one must actually go to 212. You would think I would know this. It's almost there. And then what's really awesome, guys, is once it's done, it'll clean itself. I'll pour out the marinara sauce. I will add 3 cups of water and a drop of dish detergent and set it on the it's called heated wash. It heats the water, it cleans itself, and then I just rinse it out and put it in the drainer. And other than peanut butter, I rarely have to do anything else. Peanut butter, it gets on the lip and stuff and it doesn't wash off as easily. So I do usually have to take a soapy washcloth or sponge to it after the heated wash setting, but it certainly reduces by 97% the cleanup after peanut butter. So I would love to know what your questions are about this if you're watching. Paulette, I cannot see your comments. So I can see you made one. I can't actually read it from here, but I will be responding to you and anyone else who's commented here in just a few minutes. This is almost done, you guys. So another thing you could add to this recipe, if you wanted, would be if you have a protein, like pea protein. We used to sell a pea protein, so that would have been a good addition, or like a superfoods protein. I'm not sure about whey. If it can be boiled, then I would say absolutely you can add it. I am not particularly knowledgeable on, I'm not at all knowledgeable actually about protein, like the different protein mixes out there. I was eating peanut butter energy balls at this thing I was at yesterday, and whoever made them was so sweet, and she wrote the recipe out. Oh, look at that. Y'all may have noticed it was counting down. I just noticed that. Okay, there. So you want to be super careful taking this lid off because that is some hot steam. So remember to turn it away from you as you take it off. Please don't burn yourself on your cooking blender. That would be a major bummer. We're going to add the tomatoes. And I'm actually going to take a scraper here and scrape down that lid because a lot of that puree got stuck in the lid here. So we're going to just scrape that down. And one of the really great things about adding the tomatoes at this point is it's going to cool it down. So about 140 is typical temperature that we can tolerate eating. And it was 208 when it stopped there. So to put the tomatoes in last at room temperature is going to cool it down for us. And that is, to me, a win because that means you can serve it faster. All right, lid back on. So this comes off. Like if you wanted to add something while it was going, when you're making the peanut butter, you tamp it down. If you saw that video, use the tamper. So that does come off, but I don't want it flying out. So now we're just going to pulse it. And it's ready to go. So pulse for 30 seconds. And again, remember when you take that lid off, it's hot. So you want to open it away from you. And here is our marinara sauce. Again, you could add all kinds of things at this point. If you wanted to make like a vodka marinara sauce part, we actually have a recipe for that. You could add that when you added the tomatoes. You could add cream if you wanted to add cream. You could change up on the veggies. I mentioned doing things like spinach or kale or anything that's going to get more nutrition into the food for you and your family. You're going to mix it in and you're not going to taste it. So let me just grab a spoon. I had a spoon. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. And we're going to just give this a little taste. Oh, it's really good. It is so fresh. It is so fresh, and it's so, I don't know, I get excited at that. It's just all these whole ingredients. There's no preservatives in it, but it's going to keep. And again, like for us, it's just two of us, right? So what I'll probably do is portion this out into 1-cup containers and freeze it. And then we'll have fresh marinara sauce whenever we want it. So I hope you enjoyed watching this demo of how to make your homemade hidden veggie marinara sauce in the cooking blender. You can make just kind of anything. You can make it up as you go, but it does come with a lot of recipes, including this one. And then there's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens more on our website. And I'm going to post some of those in my stories tonight. So make sure you check back later. I should have those up by 9 o'clock at the latest. So hopefully I will see you then on my stories. If you have questions, if you'd like to get this baby this month, you can just order it on my website anytime. But I can help you get it for 60% off if you're interested in knowing more about that. So send me a private message. I will be happy to give you the details on how you can make that happen, how we can make it happen for you. And thanks again for watching. Have a great night. I'm going to go cook some pasta. Bye-bye.